Welcome in to the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller back with you, starting a new week in a new reality. It's April 6th. Glad you stopped by. So yesterday, or over the weekend, I think it was Saturday evening, that I released a rather lengthy episode on the conjunction between Jupiter and Pluto. This is the other big one that happened on Saturday night. And you know what's interesting is now we're getting some stories of possibly this thing starting to roll over a little bit and not so many cases. Obviously great news and could be indicative of these conjunctions. So that's the peak. It's kind of like the full moon crescendo. And a ray of hope, I'm hoping today, is to point out that in this morning's sky there is a Grand Trine between Venus, Jupiter, and the moon. Oh, we'll take that. And the point of, the subtle energies. Maybe are the subtle energies coming back a little bit? So what would we look for in a Venus, Jupiter, moon, Grand Trine? So that's just all three of those connected by trine 120-degree aspects. What would we look for? Well, let me take a stab at it and see if this plays. So Venus just moved into Gemini, all right? That's communication, information. Venus, let's say love, positive. The moon is in Virgo, health. Jupiter still in Capricorn, but now on the waxing side of that conjunction with Pluto on Saturday. Maybe it's in some kind of a release of its relationship with that waxing energy related to Pluto/virus. In other words, could the sky be showing us a little bit of a ray of hope here? Well, I certainly hope so, and I know you do too. So one of the things that I've been really concentrated on too is where all of this shows up in our own individual charts. So with not much having changed since we talked on Friday and then again over the weekend, those still hold, except for this Grand Trine. I think that might supersede a little bit of Saturday's broadcast, so we'll see. But I think it's important that you become aware of where these energies are in your own chart. And I did this over the weekend, looked at where the transits are relative to my own natal chart, and there was a bit of a wake-up call there that I think is important for all of us to take note of. And I'll tell you where the hot spots are. Okay, so let's walk through this. First of all, if you do not have astrology software, then you can go on astro.com for free, or you can go on astro-seek.com. I think those are two really good ones. And you can run your own natal chart. Now, because I have software that multiple programs and everything that I use, I don't go on there, and I'll be honest with you, I've not gone on there to see if you can do an overlay. So in other words, it's a two-wheel chart. I'm imagining that you can. Both of those are great programs. So you get your natal chart as the base chart, and then you put the transiting planets. So in other words, where the sky is right now, same chart I'm looking at right here for April 6th, and put that over your natal chart. That would let you see exactly where the planets are and probably would put aspect lines in there as well. Now, that's getting a little deeper than I really wanted to go. Here's the bottom line. Here's what you can do, and these are the hot spots. And this will keep it really simple if that's a little bit too much, okay? Don't worry about it. Here's what you do. Find out from those programs, and both of them will interpret and tell you where these are. Find out where in your chart Capricorn is, and then Aquarius will be the next sign in zodiacal order, so that's reverse clockwise. Counterclockwise, or to the left of Capricorn, is Aquarius. Note where those are. The other one you want to note is where Taurus is. All right, now here's where you kind of connect the dots. So you're going to have to know the glyphs, obviously, and each one will have a key, so you'll be able to see. But you need to find Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, and Mars in your own chart. Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, and Mars. Okay? And then look at where they are in the chart and see what kind of angles they are back to Capricorn and Aquarius, especially that cusp line, that line between Capricorn and Aquarius, because that's where all the energy is stacked up right now, is right on that cusp. And specifically, is anything either conjunct, so in other words, sitting right there on that line, opposite that line, or a 90-degree right angle to that line. That would be a square. Do the same thing for Taurus, because just at 5 degrees Taurus is Uranus. You'll see that on the transit chart. And in the transit chart, or in other words, in today's chart, Uranus is at a square aspect to that line between Capricorn and Aquarius. So that square is mostly affecting Saturn and Mars. Definitely more so than Jupiter, and I would say Pluto is too far out. But again, finding Uranus and Taurus, and then looking again at what is aspecting that, especially from the standpoint of a square or an opposition or a conjunction. Now, I'll tell you what I found in my chart was a square aspect that actually peaks on Thursday, where Mars up here in Aquarius is squaring my natal Mars in Scorpio, 90 degrees. So that means Saturn is also squaring that. And I've got the privilege of not only having Mars sitting there, but Mars, Neptune, and the Sun all sit on the same degree in Scorpio, and that degree happens to be 6. So today's Mars is at 4 degrees Aquarius. Thursday it moves to 6. That will be an exact conjunction. That also puts Uranus at a quincunx, so that's a 150-degree angle or aspect, and that's a tense aspect. And then when I looked at it on Thursday, at that point of that conjunction, the moon is right there at 6 degrees Scorpio. Yeah. Am I going to be being careful? See, what I would put that together as, I mean, this is ominous stuff, and I know this is not fun astrology, but this is real astrology. So when I look at this, and this is why I'm saying, know where this stuff is in your own chart. Now, look, I'm doing all the stuff that I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm doing it to an nth degree. But when I look at Mars square to natal Mars and Sun, Saturn square as well to Mars and Sun, Moon conjunct natal Mars and Sun, and Uranus over at a cranky aspect to all of that. What I told Majana last night is, ooh, okay, I am on double time alert and being very careful for about the next 2 weeks. She said, really? And I was like, yes, absolutely, because that's big energy affecting natal planets in really kind of a direct way of all of this. So what I'm claiming as well within that is that we are indeed this trine that we're seeing, this Grand Trine that we're seeing in today's sky is part of this, that is that we are getting some waning energy into this. But it is a time to just be extra careful for me. And this is how you apply what we're talking about here every day to your own chart. And I do think right now, just go with the wake-up call with me and take a look at your own, go through the exercise. And if you aren't able to do that, there are a bunch of astrologers who would be glad to jump on a Zoom session and work it through. So I wish I had the time. I have multiple projects going on right now, and I've just had to close that down for a little while here. But I can give you a list. If you need a list, just email me, info@funastrology.com, and I'll refer you to some astrologers that would probably be happy to help you locate and pinpoint all of this. Don't do it from a point of fear. Do it from a point of awareness. I'm not scared or worried about the stuff that I just pointed out. I'm just going to do my work. I'm going to amp it up, and I'm going to be extra careful. No trips to the grocery store for the next 2 weeks. And I've got some other stuff that I'm doing. I'll probably do my elderberry now every day instead of with symptoms. Just stuff like that. All right, I've got to get over to an audiobook. I hope you guys have a great day and stay safe. And I hope this works for you. I hope this was a worthy exercise for you of awareness. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.